the verdict in former Union Minister MJ Akbar's criminal defamation complaint against journalist Priya Ramani for her allegations of sexual harassment against him. The defamation case against Priya Ramani could not be proved. That's what the Delhi court has said, acquitting her of all charges. Now, pronouncing the verdict, the court said that women can't be punished for raising instances of sexual abuse. The judge said that the Indian Constitution allows women to put forward her grievances before any forum and at any time. Speaking after the verdict, Priya Ramani said that it feels amazing. I feel vindicated on behalf of all the women who have ever spoken out against sexual harassment at workplace. Listen in.
How do you feel? We both feel amazing. No, I think it's a great moment for all of us. I think for Priya particularly, because she was the one who took the brunt of the case, the criminal prosecution. So really, this is a vindication of her truth and the truth of the other women who supported her through this trial, both inside court and outside court. I think this journey has been incredible in that sense, because we saw solidarity that we've never seen before, and therefore we can only thank all those men and women who stood by us through this very, very difficult trial.
And there were at least 4 or 5 women in court who had spoken up during the Me Too movement. And just to see the joy on their face, was something.
The court also observed that your disclosure is in the larger interest of anti-sexual harassment, and that the court also, in fact, in a way, gave credence for that also. So how do you see it now? What is this judgment for the India Me Too movement?
I hope it will make more women speak up, and I also hope it will discourage powerful men from filing false cases against women who share their truths.
All right, let's get you some more reactions. Joining me right now is Aarti Jairath, senior journalist. Ms. Jairath, thanks very much for joining us. This is a key verdict, and as Priya Ramani says, she hopes that this makes more women speak up. What's your reaction to this verdict?
Well, I agree with everything Priya said and Rebecca said. I think it's a huge, huge victory for all those women who spoke up, during the Me Too movement, who took on powerful people, powerful, editors, powerful politicians like MJ Akbar, and came out with, their experiences. And they were very brave young women. And, and what is really heartening is what the court has said today, that the Constitution gives women the right to speak up at any forum and at any time. So even if the charges are 10 years old, you are allowed to come out 10 years later and speak up about an experience that you may have had at the hands of a male predator in your office or, wherever. And, I think that is, that gives a feeling of great comfort to women who may have felt scared because they were harassed when they were young. And, they were really junior in their offices. But as they grow older and they gain in confidence, they can speak up about those experiences. And, yes. I do certainly hope that this is going to encourage more women to not take the harassment they face in office lying down, that they will fight against it. And I hope men are going to be discouraged from harassing young females, young colleagues, just because, they have a fiduciary relationship. That doesn't give them the right really to, harass women. So, sure. I hope this judgment is going to actually lead to a better work environment for women.
Yes, yes. Ms. Jairath, many journalists stood with Priya Ramani in this long fight for justice. How important is this support system in this fight?
Well, I think that's really what kept Priya Ramani going, because, she was trolled so viciously.
Yes.
And, she was taking on a very powerful person at that time. I mean, he was not just a very well-known editor nationally and internationally, but he was also a member of parliament and he was a union minister. So, she was taking on somebody very, very powerful. And if it hadn't been for this support from this fraternity of women and the fact that other women, once she spoke up, then other women came out with their stories, if it hadn't been for this support system, I think, it would have been very difficult for her to carry on. So, I mean, it was a very vital, ecosystem for her to be in, to, carry on this fight.
Yes.
And it's been a pretty long struggle for her. But kudos to her, kudos to the lawyer. It's a great moment for all of us, really.
Yeah, this is a landmark verdict. All right, let me take this to Mrinalini Deshmukh, lawyer of the Bombay High Court, joining me right now. Ms. Deshmukh, first of all, your reaction to this verdict?
Amazing, awesome. I'm super excited. I think there cannot have been a better verdict than this. And this is not about somebody not getting the order of defamation. It is about the courts respecting the dignity of the women. Now, if you see some of the, I don't have the exact judgment with me as we speak, but I have a few snippets of it. And one of the statements that the judge has said, he has said that society must understand the impact of sexual abuse and harassment on its victims. So look at the sensitivity in the judgment. He also says that women have the right to put a grievance even after decades. So what does that say? So those people who said that a Me Too movement is an afterthought, it is a tool of harassment for men, it's going to be used to be, get even with their men, folks on things like that. I don't think that, I think the judge has understood why the Me Too movement was started, what the Me Too movement means, and how important it is today for the dignity of the woman which is there. And I completely agree with every word that is there, which is there in the judgment, because that hails the dignity of the woman. And as somebody earlier, the panelist also said that it says that the Constitution has given the right for everyone to speak up.
Yes.
You cannot
at
gag
any
someone
forum and
unless
at any
it
time.
is responsible or leading to some kind of chaotic situation. But you cannot gag someone and say, and he has also stated that the dignity of the woman cannot be compromised for the so-called reputation of a person. So I think the way it has been weighed in favor of the dignity of the woman is amazing, is all that I can say. And a great job done by one of my, fraternity, Rebecca. I think she's done a superb job. And I would like to salute her for taking up this case against such a big man and fighting him through the whole thing.
Yes, Ms. Deshmukh and Ms. Jairath, stay with us. Let me go across to Arvind Gunasekar, who was tracking all the developments in the court. Arvind, give us the highlights of this landmark judgment.
Yeah, Rohit, the Delhi court in a 91 pages judgment has dismissed the case that was filed by MJ Akbar, the former union minister, against Priya Ramani, the criminal defamation case. In fact, after 2 years of trial, the Delhi court has dismissed the case, saying that the case against Priya Ramani is not proved. In fact, the court also made some strong observations regarding the sexual harassment at workplaces. In fact, the court said that the right to reputation cannot be protected at the cost of right to dignity. So, keeping the right to dignity at all level high, not at saying that it cannot come at the cost of the right to dignity, cannot come at the cost of right to protection. The court has gone ahead and dismissed the petition that was filed by MJ Akbar against Priya Ramani. The court also said that at that particular point of time, because the alleged the incident that was raised by Priya Ramani dates back to 1993, and the court also agreed to the contention of Priya Ramani, saying that at that particular point of time there was no mechanism to raise such complaint, and only in 2018, when there was this the entire India Me Too movement was in force, Priya Ramani got the courage to come up to make such a disclosure. And also Priya Ramani also made it a point before the court, saying that her disclosure was in the larger interest of anti-sexual harassment at workplaces. The court, after agreeing to the argument of Priya Ramani here, the court has dismissed the petition that was filed by MJ Akbar against Priya Ramani.
All right, Arvind Gunasekar, thanks very much for joining us with those details. Let's go back to Mrinalini Deshmukh, who's with us. Ms. Deshmukh, Priya Ramani also spoke about how, being the victim, she had to stand up in court as the accused. How difficult is it to speak up against powerful men and this exhausting legal battle that ensues?
Absolutely. I can very well imagine what she must have gone through for a woman who stood up for what was right, for a woman who did not who did not want her predator to go scot-free. And she was not the only victim. I mean, if you see that the lot of witnesses that came in favor of her and supported her were all those who had undergone the same kind of a treatment from this person. And I think that is what impressed the court a lot, that this is not one woman who's trying to sort of get into a fight with a man who's in power and trying to get him down. No, this was a fight of women in general, women in particular who were working under him, and women who were fighting for what they said, that we had suffered this nonsense for long and we do not wish to now sit in silence about it. So, and for a person who stood up for this to be called an accused, to stand in the witness and say that you're defaming me, I can imagine what she must have gone through, what her family, what her near and dear ones must have gone through to be in that situation. But ultimately, the truth wins. And that's where, once again, the faith in the judiciary has gone up for all of us who believe that the judiciary will stand for what is right and not what they probably feel should be in favor of the powerful one. It also means that everybody has access to judiciary and everybody has access to justice, which the justice will happen to them if the facts and the truth is there.
Yes, Ms. Jairat, final thoughts from you. What next for the Me Too movement? Will this verdict, the same thing that Priya Ramani said, that she had to stand up in court as an accused being the victim, but will this verdict help more and more women who've suffered at the hands of powerful men speak up?
I certainly think so. I certainly think so, because, the Me Too movement was actually quite amazing. I mean, the number of women who came out at that time and spoke not just about MJ Akbar, but about various other people. And, we do have that famous case of the Terry chief, Pachori, where that woman spoke up, and look at the way she was harassed, and she was, ultimately, I think she had to quit her job because she couldn't carry on, But, at least in Priya's case, she has been vindicated. And I think that this is very important for women who face sexual harassment in the workplace and who will continue to face sexual harassment in the workplace until men mend their way and the way they deal with their female colleagues, particularly their junior female colleagues. So, I hope that this judgment will be remembered, and I hope it will be institutionalized in some sort of way so that women have the courage to speak up and women can feel secure in their work environment. They shouldn't have to take this kind of harassment from their seniors and their male bosses. A workplace, there should be respect for everybody, for men, for women, and for everybody. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult, to have a harmonious working environment.
Yes. Ms. Deshmukh, final word to you, 30 seconds. Yes.
Yes, absolutely, 30 seconds. You know what? This puts a lot of responsibility on women like us, because we should not be misusing what the judgment is all about. We should be more responsible, and genuine cases must be brought to the notice of the public, to the courts, etc. But we must also be responsible not to have any of these false cases that are leveled as we see in other cases. So I think it puts a lot of responsibility on women like us, and I'm sure all of us will do it in a responsible manner.
All right, Mrinalini Deshmukh and Aarti Jairat, thanks very much for joining us on this discussion, a key verdict by the Delhi court.